All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Goddess Giselle podcast. It's been a long time since we last chatted. Well, not that long, but if you're new here, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I am Giselle, your host, and I created this space to really amplify the voices of women making an impact in their communities, and also just to chit chat with my homegirls and really just bring really stellar voices to a platform, which is here. And so if you're new here, again, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Share this podcast with your friend. And really, let's just tap into the conversation. And so today I have a very special guest with us today. We have Synetta Smith. Synetta, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I am doing so good, girl. I cannot complain. We were just talking about how we're just so busy right now. Like, what is going
Yes.
on?
Especially this year, I feel like has been like nonstop for me. I keep saying Q3 and 4, I need to sit down and get back to my routines and everything. But yes, it's been busy.
I'm right there with you. And in Chinese astrology, it's the year of the fire horse, which literally is putting the fire up under everybody, and you got to get up and go. You got to move. And so if you've been moving around a lot, you right on time.
And then I'm an Aries as well. So I feel like that's putting like double or triple behind it. So yeah.
Yes, Aries, like, yes, y'all are fire signs. I'm a Leo, also a fire sign. But Leos, we be chilling. But this year, Fire Horse has had me moving, okay? Like,
That's
I've been moving
good.
around. And so speaking of moving, me and Synetta were just talking off camera that I just relocated to Alabama. And Synetta, you can open with that question because we were just naturally talking. We were
How are
talking about
you? How are you enjoying being back in Huntsville, being back in Alabama?
girl, I am loving it. Like, I will be honest, my journey back to myself, and it brought me right back to where I started, my
I
roots.
love it.
And it's so poetic. And like one day I'm gonna write a book about it, but not today. Y'all can check out my blog in the meantime. But it's like I went on a journey to find things outside of myself. And granted, I did find them. Like, well, another way to say it, I left my hometown to follow my dreams. My dreams came true, all the way down to me becoming a wife, starting a business, living out my dream career. And then when I became a mother, okay, that's when my energy shifted to I need to get back to my roots, right?
Mm,
Because it's like I just birthed my daughter who came from my womb, and spirit was telling me I needed to get back to where I came from, to be grounded. And it was so clear to me when I became a mom. But I love it here. It feels different, but it feels like home. Even connecting with you, Synetta,
mm. I
Birmingham
know.
Birmingham all day, right? You ever since we met, and fun fact, y'all, we knew each other since college. So we both went to the
Yes.
University of Alabama, Roll Tide, Roll
Roll Tide.
Tide. And we were on the dance team together, Rip Tide.
Riptide. Yes.
Listen, we
Good times. Oh my gosh. So
and
many
we was
memories.
so many memories, so many good memories, right?
Hmm.
Again, us following our craft, being creative, being in our feminine energy, which is dancing. Like, we was dancing, okay?
And I'm glad
And
I've gotten back into that. Like I'm around the house dancing. When I'm cooking, I'm dancing, twerking. I got my mirror right here. So I feel like I'm getting back to myself too. And I keep saying like I need to get into a dance class just to have fun.
yeah,
Hmm.
and that's it. And before we even look, we already jumped into the conversation, but I will do semantics. So, welcome, Synetta, again. So that's the homegirl intro. But for those who don't know you, please share your name, your location, and your title. And also, if you wear any hats, whether it's a family woman, like what kind of hats do you wear as a woman?
Okay. I'm Synetta Smith. I live in Birmingham, Alabama. And you said it's my title, right? When you say title, is it like career wise or what just title would I give?
Yeah, like your career wise, like what's AI saying about you? Because girl, I googled you and it had
Yeah.
a little set up there.
I feel like it's me starting to own that I feel that I have multiple titles, right? And don't put myself in a box. So
Yep.
I model, I've done TV and film. I was on the I guess you could say a reality personality now. I can add that as a bucket list or a checklist on my titles. I also have a corporate career. Currently, I have a leadership role at the company I work for. And yeah, I consider myself to be an influencer, a content creator. I feel like it just depends on which week, what title I want to wear. Sometimes I want to say I'm a stay-at-home wife or a work-from-home wife, and I want to rest in that. So it's like each week I feel like I'm wearing a different title. But as far as my hats, I'm a wife, I'm an auntie, I'm a sister, I am a friend, I'm a listener. I feel like I advocate for people. I'm a creator. I'm a community leader. And yeah,
Yeah.
but those are all of the titles that I wear.
Period. And I love that. And that's literally what we're stepping into in this season of womanhood. It's multifaceted being. Like you
That's
are who
it.
you are, and then all the other parts of you come with you, right? You don't have
Hmm.
to be in a box. And that's the new world. That's where we are right now in 2026. If you're watching this, we're in the year 2026 and women have evolved. And so I love that for you. And not being boxed in, right? Because who wants to be in a box? You ain't got to like express yourself,
Exactly. Exactly.
especially.
Entrepreneur. I didn't throw that out there. So what you said, that's what I wanted to say. My title was I'm multifaceted because I feel like I can do it all, and I stopped limiting myself to believe that I have to just stick to one thing.
Yeah,
I can do it all. I probably need to focus on one thing at a time, but don't limit or cut off those other titles or hats or things that I feel like I'm called to do. I can do it all. Yeah, we can
and
do it all. Yes,
can do it all. And if you're watching this, you can do it all. And that's literally the name of the game. It's goddess energy, just being you in your fullness without shrinking and without apologizing. So, speaking of women, if you could name three women who inspire you, could you name three women who inspire you and why?
first I would start off with my mother. And I would say my why is she showed me not to settle. She showed me that she can go out. She knows her worth. She knows her value, and that just to see her, although my parents were married, I love my parents. They have a great relationship. As a 36-year-old woman now, I can respect that my mother showed me the importance of her choosing herself
Mm.
and her worth and her value and her getting out and working and doing what she needed to do to take care of her two kids. So I love that about my mother. Like that's a strong foundation. And I feel like she was a great example for me in that area. The next I would say would be my Aunt Jessie. She is like the matriarch of our family. Everybody goes to her about everything. She also supports other people in her community. She leads in her church. She's always taking in other people's children. She keeps telling me I need to have one before she gets too old, to support and take care of the child. She was like my second mom, growing up. I was always at her house. And then third, I'm going to group in all of my sisters and just say my sisters and all. I have to count how many. I have a cousin that I consider a sister that she lived with me. And then I have three sisters. And then one of my sisters has a sister as well. So I've been able to see sisterhood in different capacities and not even being my full sisters, right? Where when it comes with my mom and my dad, it's just my brother and I. But my dad had other daughters, and they still feel like my whole sisters, and all of them have been there to support me. I am the youngest, so I feel like that they are there to give me wisdom. I value our friendship now as we get older. They are like my soundboard that I can go to, or my village, and have shown me a good example and have kind of already laid out the path. I don't take it for granted that I'm the baby because I can kind of see, okay, they kind of showed me the ropes or which ways that I should go. So I would say total in all three capacities, like the women in my family.
Wow. Thank you for that. That is so special. And I'm the baby too, Synetta. So I was able to see some things, right?
Exactly. Yes. So I'm like, thank you. Like, yeah.
You are, and we are. I feel like we're inherently spoiled by our
Hmm.
position in the family, and yeah, that is so neat. And I did not know that, Synetta. It's so nice to even learn it about you. So, sisterhood, and I think you do such a great job just across your platforms. Um, amplifying the voices of the women and the feminine in particular, and sisterhood in particular. I could tell that's a part of your core values. So
Yes.
to you, what does sisterhood mean to you? Like, what is sisterhood? If you could just describe it in your own words.
I would say sisterhood is a healthy relationship. I think that sometimes women, we don't realize that relationships with other or friendships are relationships. The same way how we have relationships with men, right? We don't look at that or value those relationships with other women as we do with men, right? I can go down a whole conversation. I don't know if it's because we've been indoctrinated, we've been, influenced, but I think it's a healthy relationship. Sisterhood is you having a support system, a village, being in that flow of a matriarch type of community, and
Yes.
allowing your sister to be authentic and be vulnerable, and a safe space within that relationship, and overall just a community. So that's kind of how I envision sisterhood.
Beautiful. I love that, and I couldn't agree more. And Synetta, that's 99% of the reason why I moved home was because my sister is here. I have a sister in Atlanta, but my oldest sister, because I'm the baby, right? So I'm her
Mhm.
baby. She lived across the street, girl. I moved across the street.
Yeah, I love that.
I got this baby. I need some help,
You need
baby.
help.
I
You
need the
need help.
village. I was like, and soft life me, please, because again, I lived in Atlanta for over a decade as a dreamer, a creator, and all the things. But then motherhood again brought me back to myself, which is the divine feminine. It brought me to my mother, my aunt, all the women who raised me. Because when you're talking motherhood and sisterhood, those are feminine roles. Those are for the women
Yes.
and the ladies. And so I was like, oh, I need to go be around my sister,
Hmm.
my mom, and my aunt, and my daughter needs to see that. And I had a girl,
Exactly.
and so it's even more important for her to see me, fellowship with them, but then also know that she can be herself and she could cry, she could be spoiled because she's a girl and she comes from a
Yeah.
very strong village of women. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that because I think right now, especially in the social sphere, particularly since the pandemic, right? Sisterhood and friendship has been on the chopping block, meaning if the friendship or sisterhood wasn't authentic, it wasn't real, or people just been feeling betrayed out of nowhere, there's just been a lot of riffraff about the subject of sisterhood and friendship. And so I appreciate you sharing your perspective because we just need to get back to the roots. Like, let's define it, right? Like,
Right.
see what it is. Like, don't follow the trends. Don't be like, oh, I got my boundaries. I don't talk to none of these girls. Now, granted, that's fine too. But there's a beautiful part of what you just shared, and that's what's missing. And I feel like if you haven't ever seen that, or you don't have sisters of your own,
Exactly.
you might not value it as much. What are your thoughts there?
I agree with you on that. And what I heard was we lack empathy for each other.
Mhm.
And I personally feel that most women, we go through the same things. It's just seasons, right?
Yeah.
So you may either be in the season is coming, or you just got out of it. And I feel like sometimes that we judge each other and we lack that empathy, right? And again, I compared it to a relationship, but when we think of the word relationships, we always think of it with men, right? And we forgive men all the time. We
Hmm.
don't, we'll, and I don't know again what's the root behind it, but we'll forgive them multiple times. We'll thug it out with them. And I feel that in the space that I'm in right now, with, let's just take my friendships, let's take my sisters out of it, because my sisters at the end of the day, they're going to be there, right? We can riff raff, may not like what she said. We give each other space. That's my family, unless it's toxic,
Right.
but I don't, that's not my story. But when it comes to friendships, you have seasons, and as we started out, it's a lot going on. So
Hmm.
if one of my friends becomes distant, that doesn't mean that I should just cut her off, right? I do think that that person should communicate, and when your friends are going through stuff, but just give her that space. I'm having to learn now that I'm different. I'm the type, if I go through things, I show up the same way regardless. But some of my other friends are not like that, right? So I have to be aware of that and have empathy to say, my friend is going through something behind closed doors. Let me pray. She may not want to talk about it. I'm a talker. I'm gonna call, get it out. You know what I'm saying? But everybody else is not like that. So
Right.
give her her space, pray for her behind the scenes. And when she's ready to come back, I should have an open door. You know what I'm saying, for her. And if
Yeah.
you feel that you need to talk about it, that's what I'm in therapy working about, me giving my feelings, emotions, and being able to communicate it without shutting down. If you value those friendships or those sisterhood with women, have that conversation, because you'll send that man a long text message talking about your emotions and your feelings. So why can't we give that same grace and empathy to other women?
True.
So yeah. But again, everybody, and then it could be competition. You
Yeah.
know, maybe that's why some people cut people off or feel like, oh, this and that. It's so many layers to it.
It is.
But I just feel that you can still have your boundaries, but just to be mean and nasty to someone, or just to cut them off, or what's the council culture that we have.
Mhm.
You don't know what people are going through, and it's a lot
Right.
going on right now.
It is. It's a lot. It is. It's a lot going on. And kind of speaking of that, this show was kind of inspired by the massive shift of 2020, right? And so, of course, since 2020, we're living in a whole different world. The world is different. The way we interact with each other, the way we hold
Hmm.
space for one another, or hold no space for stuff that we used to, like toxic friendships or even toxic energy, even in ourselves, right? Like
Yeah.
wellness is on trend. Okay, if you should be working out in some capacity, walking, fitness, Pilates, like wellness is now a part of life. But I wanted to piggyback and see, where were you in 2020 mentally? Like how were you, did the 2020 impact you, and how was your, shift, or the difference between
Woo!
you then and now?
2020 was my year of 30. So
Okay.
I feel like I had the pressure of, oh my gosh, I hit 30. So I'm gonna start off there. And I feel like I was moving in the energy or the spirit of fear in 2020.
Mhm.
With COVID happening, we
Yeah.
didn't know what was going on. Then
Right.
again, I'm turning 30. At that point in time, when it came to like career or what I wanted to do or my purpose, it wasn't clear. And then again, you hit 30. So it's that pressure. That's like a milestone year
Yeah.
where you feel like you're supposed to have it together. Um, Honestly, at the beginning of that year, I think he's my husband now, but my boyfriend, we were broken up. During that time, we actually got married while we were broken up again.
What?
We were just like, let's get exact. That's what I'm saying, girl. It was a lot going on in 2020. We weren't even together. We were just, it was a lot. So
Oh, wow.
it was a lot, but I would say it was the, and then again, I feel like I'm gonna be transparent, right?
Yeah.
I do think that a lot of even that decision, I don't regret doing it, but I do think that me moving in that age, career, then
Yeah.
COVID is happening, we're not knowing, kind of brought us together and was like, let's get, because we had been together for so long, off and off. Let's just go ahead and we didn't know what to expect.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know
It's
what I'm saying? We were like, let's do,
easy. Meet me at the
oh,
altar.
that's exactly what happened. We weren't even going to tell anyone. I told my mom we were going to go to the courthouse, and
Uh-huh.
my husband got me a new car. So when I pulled up at my sister's like, where you get that car from? I'm like, oh, Chris bought me a car. She was like, why did he buy your car? Because she been hearing me talk about us not together. And I'm like, oh, we're finna get married in like 2 weeks. She was like, no, you're doing a vow. So that's how even it was brought to the public, because I wasn't even going to tell anybody. We were just going to do it. You get what I'm saying? But I go back to saying I think that I was just moving in a lot of fear in that year. Yeah.
That's
I
fun.
had a lot going on though.
Well, guess what? Y'all are still standing. Okay.
We just celebrated 6 years
There you
on
go.
July 3rd. Yep.
Well, happy belated anniversary.
Thank you.
And yes, a lot of folks didn't make it. There was a lot of breakup, a lot of, again, splitting up of energy of whatever in 2020. So the fact that y'all came together and y'all still together, that says a lot about y'all's love for each other. So
Yes.
kudos to y'all. Sometimes fear can be used as alchemy and turn into
Yeah.
something magical, right? And so
Yeah. And I always say, I said this on another thing, everything works for my good. And that's how I view stuff now. Like I move in that flow. It's
yeah,
gonna, yeah.
there you
Yeah.
go. Well, I love to hear it. And again, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Talk a little bit. We're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about stepping into the goddess energy, identity. I know I call myself Goddess Giselle. Really tapped into that energy again around the pandemic. Like 2020 for me was a lot of inner work, shadow work,
Mm-hmm.
going into yourself. And because we couldn't go outside, we couldn't go out and do the things. And so here we are in this space, and it's like, okay, you have to figure out who you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you personally define goddess energy? And what was the moment in your life when you realized you had fully stepped into yours, or you started to feel more
Mm-hmm.
grounded in yourself as a goddess?
I would say goddess to me is divine. It's sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
It's creation. It's power. It's authority.
Yeah.
It's beauty. It's grace, and it's strength and leadership as well. I think sometimes think people just think that like a goddess is just someone that's just laying around and with her face mask and eating grapes and why no, like to me, going back, I keep using the word matrix, like a goddess is a creator.
Yeah.
The beginning, she is just creation overall. So and it's magical.
Yeah.
I think that that's my term for being a goddess. I feel like I'm now that I'm in this energy, I just feel so magical. So and I love the experience of moving through life like this
Okay.
versus that victim and that fear that I used to move into.
Okay. Now, was there any moment in particular, or just kind of over the years, the more you doing you, you're starting to just find your flow and be like, okay, goddess, Synetta, I feel me. Look.
Actually becoming a wife, I
Mm,
pushed me into it. So again, that situation of not to say that again we should not have then, but we just kind of did it. But that alchemy of me stepping into that role, because honestly, I don't think that we knew what we were doing at that time. We had just been together for so long. Everybody's like, when are y'all getting married? Listening to
yeah.
society. I
Yeah.
always say, I feel we should have gotten married now, because we're more mature, we're settled in our careers, but
Right.
because of fear, society pressures, norms, being together from 22 to 23, at 22 and 23 for him, and then now being 30 and 31,
Mm,
when are y'all going to get married? Y'all keep shacking with each other. So again, that pushed me. I became a wife, and me, the fairy tale kind of popped. Again, I feel like women, we have been programmed. We have been sold those Disney stories.
yep.
We have babies in our hand, wife, even the industry, right? Once I got into it, and then even me meeting other wives and starting to talk to them, I feel like it was like I joined a sorority. They
Yep.
started sharing different things with me, and I'm just like, wait a second. Mm-mm-mm. And so, so when it comes to me, I went to therapy,
Uh-huh.
and for the first time, I had gone to therapy before, but I never really took it serious. But this time, like, I was like, okay, what's going on? I'm like 31, 32, and I'm
Yeah.
in there venting, and she pointed it back at me, and she was like, you're not whole.
Mm,
And that started my journey. So that was probably like, I would say, it had to be like maybe 31 or 32. So it was probably
okay.
like 4 or 5 years ago.
Mhm.
And it has been a journey, but I would say me really stepping into my goddess identity was maybe start like 2025, which would be last year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But again, it was a whole journey of me again, her calling it out, me accepting that. Because at first I didn't want to accept it because I thought I was perfect. I didn't want to accept it. And it sucks someone telling you, like, girl, you're not whole. That's hard to hear.
Yeah.
So
You
her
agree?
calling that out,
Did you like push back? Were you like, what you mean? Or did you receive that with like open arms?
I think I received it, but it still took me a while to really just sit with it. And then maybe more experiences decided to make me like wake up because I had to realize, okay, she's saying I'm not whole, right? Then I had to go through that whole self-love journey,
Yeah.
really starting to love myself. I think truly, I think a lot of women don't love themselves. And like when other women vent to me, I have to say, hey, I'm saying this out of love. And then I have to share my testimony and be like, hey, the root is self-love. And to me, self-love is really being okay with yourself. Not
Yeah.
hair, not makeup, body, all of that stuff, right? It's you being okay by yourself. Mentally, your thoughts, how you view yourself, how you see yourself, the thoughts about yourself. So I had to kind of work through all of that, right? The self-love, had to do some shadow work, you
Mm.
know. I had to realize I was people pleasing. So it was
Yeah.
like stages I had to go through. I had to work through emotional intelligence.
Yep.
Then during Bible study, I saw a scripture about, and I've never shared this. My husband knows about it because we talk about it a lot. And I appreciate him because he gives me the space,
Mhm.
because he's that way. So he gives me the space with the things that I am deconstructing from. But I read a verse and it was talking about Jesus' two female disciples. And I was like, wait a second. And it was Mary Magdalene, and then they don't name the other lady, but they say that like her husband's name. And when I started to do study on Mary Magdalene on my own, when I seek knowledge from my own, and I started to study those women, that's when it shifted for me. And I started looking into like the Gnostic gospel and the Gnostic faith. I looked more into Mary Magdalene's story. That way kind of like awakened it for me.
Mm.
Sophia, which is wisdom. See, those are a lot of things. I can't believe I'm saying all this right now, but I started to study all of those things, right? And I was like,
Yes.
wait a second, just like we're Black and we have Black history, a lot of women's history has been erased.
Oh, yes.
So that's me seeking that knowledge on my own, then put me, because spirit, I feel like spirit is so good, right? When you get on that journey, it'll just start putting things in your face. So
Right.
that pushed me to now here. And I started to own that I'm a leader.
Yep.
In a good way, I respect my husband, but I can lean into I'm a leader.
Yep.
I don't have to submit. I don't have
Yep.
to be a submission. I don't have to submit. I'm powerful. And as long as I
Yes.
can tap into my femininity, I feel like we have a balance of matriarch and not even patriarchal type of thing, but I let him lead, but I respect him and we come together and let it flow. And we're still working on it. I'm learning
Yep.
that marriage is built.
Yep.
So it's coming up on 6 years now. I'm like, okay, I'm understanding this is something that's built. That Al and that marriage is not it. Is you getting here and realize what the puzzles that work for you. But overall, I can kind of get to reel me back in, but that's kind of been my journey of me realizing like I am a goddess. I am the creator's daughter. I'm God's daughter, whatever
Yep.
your belief is. And there's no way that I came from a rib. And the way I used to be so indoctrinated, like I came from a rib and I'm supposed to serve this man and submit to him.
Right.
Like, no,
No.
I am God, I'm goddess. And
Yes.
that's looking at other, that's what got me here. So
Oh, ooh, that felt good, girl. That felt good. When I say you are so, I am aligned. We are aligned, divine alignment, because yeah, to everything you said. We
yeah,
got a TikTok song. Yeah, you know what? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, everything. And
yeah.
I'm just so glad you were able to get in flow and share that because no, listen, look at my husband. You said the exact same thing.
Yes.
We are aligned. This is goddess, pure goddess energy. It's your own story, but it's really you getting back to yourself. Earlier,
Mm-hmm.
I promise he's saying this because on the 4th of July, we bought my sister barbecue. And I had I had heated up some ribs. And I had heated him up some ribs. And I was like, there ain't no damn way I came from that.
We have proof
This
that we
food,
create and put. And so when I start to wake up, I'm just like, wait a second,
yeah,
like,
is wearing off. It's like, where did Adam come from then? Because Adam darn sure didn't come from just out of thin air. No, somebody's mama, his mama, somebody, a woman, the womb. Listen, Synetta, when I looked at them ribs and laughed out loud, and I was like, I should make a TikTok about this. It's like, this is what the patriarchy want women to think they came from. Some damn bones, some ribs.
yes.
That's
And then we're
ridiculous.
around here. Oh, I was created. No, it's a partnership, and
Yes. In the
you,
matriarchy, you said that earlier is partnership. It's my aunt, laws of my aunt. We are one. We are together. We are together. And more specifically, it's also what you were saying about submission because real men submit to the
mhm.
goddess, to the feminine frequency.
I
That's the truth.
I think the most exciting part about being with my husband, we've been together off and on, like we met 14 years ago. I
Mhm.
think is to see both of us mature and now him growing and removing himself from ego a lot. And
Yeah.
now he trusts me too. So my husband is very masculine, and I could share how before I realized my feminine power and even the power of silence, I would sometimes match that, and it didn't work well, right? So again, I had to go through those different seasons to learn that, but he trusts that about me. So in the physical world, I feel like I'm protected by my husband. My husband does not play
Yeah,
with me when it comes to this world,
yeah,
but when it comes to spirit, and he knows I'm going to call my wife, and he knows I'm going to cover him in that era, and things are going to happen. He says it all the time. He understands it about me. So I appreciate that. And I'm enjoying now him trusting me in that area. It may have taken him some time, but he's trusting, like, I got to go to my wife. I got to see what she thinks about. If I need her to pray or intercede or cover me, if I need this to shift, or even at his job, the atmosphere, he knows, he like, do what you do. Go, he trusts me in that area. So
you are. I
yeah.
love that. And again, we're talking about current. We're talking about today. This is how
Yes.
things work today, and that's why I'm so glad this space is here, because we got to update the programming, right? Because what we were taught versus what our elder women did, that's beautiful. Thank you for their sacrifice. But we're in a new day. And even a lot of music these days, like rappers and stuff, they be like, you got to get you a goddess. They be like, my woman is a goddess. She's a goddess. My husband,
Yep.
his music, she's a goddess. So, men, you want to get with a goddess, okay? You don't want to get with a woman who does not know that she's a goddess, because then y'all going to be on the wrong timeline. Y'all going to be doing stuff backwards, and the rest of us are going to be moving forward with the times, because we're in a new day. So, shout out to you, Synetta, girl.
Yes.
Oh, well, I did know. I didn't have to talk about it again, right? It's intuition. It's all divine. Okay. Love that. That was good, girl. I'm so happy for you. You
I'm
so
like, I'm free, and yeah, yeah. It's like my eyes are open. So, and it's like I said, it's a good space to be in, because again, before it was just such victim
yep.
and fear.
Yep.
It,
Forcing these constructs. It's like, bro, this ain't working for me. Like,
mm-mm.
know. Okay. I wish we could have had this version of you on the show. Speaking of,
Baby, they didn't want that.
so let's pivot a little bit and talk about Belle Collective Birmingham, right? So you were on this very niche one off, like it just came out, brand new spin-off
Mm-hmm.
show called Belle Collective Birmingham, which was on OWN Network. Shout out to you and the whole cast and Carlos and everything. It was just beautiful.
Yes.
I was glued in, okay? And all my friends who watched it was like, I couldn't stop watching it. It was so good.
Yes.
So let's go back and talk about the casting experience. Like, let's just piggyback a little bit. First of all, you were on Belle Collective Birmingham. The first season just ended, a little while ago. But
Yep.
talk to us about your casting experience. Let's get some behind the scenes.
Yes, of course. So I think it was like around April. Stormy reached out to me. She was like, "Hey, are you interested in doing a reality show?" She did not mention that it was going to be Belle Collective, and I don't even know if that was the show at the time. But she's like, "Hey, do you want to be in a reality show that's coming to Birmingham?" I'm like, "Sure." So the casting director ended up reaching out to me on Facebook, scheduled time for us to chat. And like
Mm-hmm.
right before our interview, I was like, "Hey, I don't even want to waste your time, because I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do this show. You know what I'm saying?" Like, it's good to entertain. I entertain, but I'm just like, I was like, when it got closer to, I'm like, I'm not gonna do this. She
Mm-hmm.
was like, "No, waste it." So we did the interview, my husband and I. I did another round of interviews by myself, and that was, it. Around October, maybe September, October, they reached back out and was like, "Hey, congratulations, the show has been greenlit. We were supposed to start filming in December." And yeah, so that was kind of like the casting process. I was very hesitant about doing the show. I
Mm-hmm.
did decline the offer a lot of times,
Okay.
but the producers really wanted me. So you again, I have text, I can keep it showing. Like, I think I went back to look, and I was like, "Hey," I told the producer, I said, "Hey, I looked at the pros and the cons and kind of like sat with it." I was like, "I don't think this is the right time for me." And I even suggested to let me be a friend of.
Okay.
So I suggested that, because at the end of the day, like in Birmingham, this is our first reality show. you
It
know,
is.
for the city and on this network and with this, you know, production company.
Right.
That has never been done. So my ego was like, yes, like who wouldn't want to be a part of the, you know what I'm saying?
Both of us taking the
Who wouldn't want to? But my soul and my spirit was just like, it's not in alignment with you because I watch, you know, reality TV shows. And then I had watched the other shows that had been produced on that same network and production company. So I'm just like, I don't know about that. So I kept declined it to the last minute, even past the time that we were supposed to have it, my contract signed. I kept declining it. And I finally was like, you know what, forget it. I'm going to do it. You know, I told the producer, I was like, I'm going to do this for you. And that's kind of how it got started. So,
okay.
yeah.
Well, cool. I'm glad you did. I know that was probably a hard decision to like.
It was very hard.
And cons and all of that. And also for the audience, this is not your first rodeo, right? Because I know you as a model and also actress. So you've done some work like in Atlanta and different cities.
Before COVID, I was in Atlanta on a lot of TV and film sets, a lot of BET sets, Tyler Perry sets, even the Bad Boys set. So I knew the industry. I didn't know it in the reality space, but I knew how filming worked. You know, I had experience with that. And I
Okay.
think that prepared me too. You know, they during filming, I was coming with my makeup bag. I would have like my rollers in the car. I would have like and that's what somebody said. One thing about you, that hair was laid. Like I had everything because I was so used to being on set. So
Yes. Overall, how was your experience? So you got casted, even though you were like back and forth, you decided, you know what, let's do this. You get on the show, they film the show. Of course, that's how that works. Fast forward to the show actually airing. Talk to us about that first episode even and how you, because I remember and we had chatted a little bit, just kind of like how it played out in that first episode. Like, how did you feel after watching the show about your decision? And, you know, just, I don't know, like walk us through that first episode. Like, okay, wait, you on a reality TV show. It's actually on TV. Everybody talk about it now. Like, how was that?
Honestly, the first episode, I was in good spirits, right? And I think I had kind of already gone through different emotions because I can be in my head a lot too, right? So once the episode had aired, I was already aware that my storyline had been removed from like a main and I was a friend of. So honestly, I felt relief because I knew that I'm there, and I already knew from jump. Like the city kept being like, when I go there, like you're in every episode, yeah, because I filmed all the way to the end. I even did my promo stuff. You know, it was like a last minute decision. So I honestly felt relief. Versus, I feel like if I probably was still like a main storyline, I probably would have been anxious because I didn't know what they were going to edit or how they could edit it or what they were going to show. So I was honestly excited. I was relieved. To me, I feel like it worked out for my good because I still got exposure, but I was still able to be private. I feel like I knew that I carried myself well throughout the show. And then Fumi invited me to her house. Actually, all the girls invited me to their watch party. But Fumi had invited me like weeks before. So she had actually had hers at her house with her family. She had like food. She had like a bartender. So I felt good to be in her space. And she even showed me a lot of love. Like, and I appreciated her for even, I didn't want her to. So I was like, oh my gosh, she's, you know, when she gave her shout outs or thanking like her team and her family that was there and her husband, she showed me her flowers. I know you didn't ask me this, but this is one thing I feel that I don't get my flowers for what I did, you know, because I was a part. Yeah, I did the full thing. And I don't, it's like I was on a group project in school and then I'm not getting the acknowledgement or the credit. Even if the decision was made, still give me my acknowledgement or my credit that I gave the same amount of time, resources. I threw a fabulous event. You know, I
Sure.
brought the girls out in my city.
Yep.
I was transparent. So I get things happen as business, right? For whatever, at the end of the day, we are characters in this show. But I just, that's the only thing. But I'm okay with that too as well. But outside of that, I appreciate her giving me my flowers there. So I feel like she's one person that does. So
Okay. And I love that. And thank you for sharing that and being transparent because, you know, it's important. And honestly, I feel like you was one of the few girls who from Birmingham actually gave Birmingham. Like, because I got friends in Birmingham. You one of them. You know what I'm saying? I went to
Mm-hmm.
Alabama. I'm from Alabama, from Huntsville. Shout out 25647. And so I'm from Huntsville. You're from Birmingham.
Yes.
And I feel like you embody Birmingham, like the energy of the city, right? Like the city knows Synetta's from Birmingham. Like she's Birmingham
Mm-hmm.
now, even when we met in college. Like I'm from Birmingham. And so you know, and I'm like, she's Birmingham collective. She is Birmingham. And so I'm glad you were present, right? And
Yeah.
I like when it first came across my feed, I was like, before I even knew who was on the show, I said, Synetta, are you on this show? You know, it's like Birmingham Synetta, you please. And so I'm glad it worked out as best as it could. And again, alchemy, baby, use
Yeah.
it, get the energy, and then transmute it into what is going to work. What you say earlier, what works in your favor,
Gonna work out for my good.
it'll work out for your good because you're here now. Again, the show was really entertaining. And the gag
Mm-hmm.
is, now that I think about it, the whole mop situation kind of started because of you.
That's why I said I don't get my credit. Like it was
You
everything was
the only plot that got
so
started.
I was doing the work low key, but I just don't get that credit. I just don't. Even at
Uh,
the reunion, my husband put it. I mean, he definitely did the most, but he was like, but I wasn't even there, and my name was still mentioned. But
exactly.
so
Now
again,
did
I just don't feel like I get my credit
you,
or the that of yeah.
now did you go to what was T on reunion? Now this is exclusive, y'all. This is exclusive. So what was T on reunion? Of course I watched it, but you weren't there. What's T?
They did extend the invitation for me to go, but I just decided not to.
Okay.
Yeah, it just wasn't to me. I know my worth and value, and I want to be I want to be aware of other people. This is me and my experience and my identity. You know what I'm saying? And my purpose. So to me, I knew my worth and value. Maybe if I was still a main, I would have shown up because I could have still spoken to. Well, I don't really think it. Okay. I thought if I was going to go to the reunion, I'm cool with talking about drama, but I also want to talk about my purpose and my personal storyline too as well. So
Got
I didn't want to be in there to be in the middle of
it.
drama.
Stuff.
It just
Yeah.
wasn't worth it for me. Yeah, it wasn't worth my energy. I'm very I know about regulating myself. I know
Mm,
about environments and what I want to experience and to be sitting around. I just for me that just and especially if I wasn't going to be able to sit there and talk about my business or my purpose as well.
yep.
Again, I'm a data person. The pros and the cons just did not work out for me.
There you
So yeah, I declined.
Okay. Well, there it is. And I, like I said, the gag is you literally stirred the only pot that was stirred most of the show, which was the mock conversation. You started and finished the conversation. Really, it was just being dragged on, but you were the one who kind of set that stage. And so, shout out to you. Here, your flowers. Boom. They're right there.
Thank you.
They're right there. It's a rose right there. And like I said, more power to you for owning you and knowing your value and your worth. And that's funny. Like that's how the feminine works, right? It's this silent superpower and
Hmm.
doing all the things behind the scenes, doing all the work. But then when it's time to get your flowers, it's like, what? You ain't doing it like that is crazy. And it's across the board, not even with the
Yeah.
show. The fact that we're sitting here talking about that too. And so we have to honor that unseen feminine work that is conversation, nurturing, fellowship, the goddess energy that you just spoke of, the mystery. I
Hmm.
that too. And I'm so proud of you for showing up and doing the best you could and giving us the looks, honey, baby, because they never did that. It was always giving. And I'm just like so happy that you even did that. So, how did you protect your peace and maintain your crown as the world was watching? Because again, I'm on all the platforms, obviously, but like I know Twitter had their own conversations, like bring Synetta back. Synetta needs to be a main when you did your dance or whatever. And
Yes.
everybody's talking. TikTok's talking. Of course, we're talking. I'm talking. So, how did you protect your peace and maintain your crown while you were on that stage for the show?
I think just staying true to who I am and knowing who I am. And again, the decision of my position being moved, to me, I continue to say, I think it set the stage of, it didn't open a lot of doors for too much negativity to be spoken about me or spoken even over my life. Again, I look at things like that too as well. You know, these people are in groups and on Facebook typing stuff like, no, ma'am, I'm sending that back to sender. I don't even need that connected to me. So I
Right.
really feel like God went before me and protected me from that. So I would say that that was it, right? Blocking different things. So I wasn't even exposed on that level for people
Good.
to speak too much about it. And I would also say, just also me knowing that I did my job and I left that relationship or left that show in good spaces with all of the women. And I think that was
Good.
the main thing for me. Like, this is real life. Yeah, I know it was a show, but I value sisterhood. So to me, I would rather do that show, not have had been a star, right? I don't care about stardom. I care about purpose and wealth, right? You can be a star and not have anything, not have any value, not have any money. That doesn't matter, right? I would rather have, and my sister helped me realize that throughout the process. Like, I value that more, and I value sisterhood more. So I would rather have done that experience. I knew all of the girls besides Stormy, and I knew Amber and Tiffany a little bit more because we were in the prayer group. But of course, I knew of Kayla and Fumi. I left with all of my relationships. I left with stronger relationships with Kayla and Fumi, and I got to know Stormy. So I value that, because a reality show can come and go,
Yeah.
right? I don't care about being a reality star, but the relationships or the partnerships that I create with these women could last a lifetime. You know,
Yep.
they didn't even highlight that Amber and Stormy, they were my sponsors for my event. To me, that's sisterhood. And that's what I know that's not what you asked me, but I
Yeah.
thought that's what I thought we were going to be filming. They're talking about boss women, because I was the corporate one stepping into entrepreneurship. So I
Gotcha.
wanted to be sitting at tables talking to Stormy. How is she doing this? Amber with her business credit. How does she help people with credit?
Mm.
Kayla has made millions. Fumi is a content creator. That's what I thought we were going to. Of course, you're going to have a little bit, but I thought we were going to be highlighting that, and that's what I was looking forward to, and that's what I left with. So I think that I was able to maneuver. Going back to your question, I was able to protect my peace in my mind, because I left with my integrity, my identity, and to me, I left with more value with the relationships with those women.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And everything happened for a reason. I'm so glad you said yes. And I was
Yeah.
going to ask if which Belle did you resonate with most toward, like, at the end of the season, or
Fumi,
post.
hands down. Me and Fumi had some powerful scenes that they did not show.
Okay.
Like, I talked about my fear of although I'm married, I talked about my fear of being a wife, of being a mother. Fumi and I had some great conversations that they did not highlight. And it's funny because there were like female producers on the show, and like two of them were saying, like, you and Fumi have some really great scenes. Or like, one girl was young and she was like, me being 27, listening to y'all conversations is helping me. So yeah. So me and Fumi, I talked to Fumi yesterday. Like, Fumi is my girl. And I would say, like, even when I got the news and I called all of them, when I tell you Fumi and even Stormy, of course I talked to Stormy a little bit during filming, but once I called and told her that news, when I tell you Stormy was going to bat for me, and I respect her for that. She was going to bat, trying to keep my main. I kept telling her, like, girl, I'm good. She was going to bat, and I respect her for that. Like, she really advocated for me. Fumi advocated for me too as well. But I had not been talking to Stormy that much and then we started to build our connection kind of really after filming, once I called her and told her the news.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, because I remember the news, and the news is, again, that we were thinking that you were going to be a main cast member, because that was what we all was when it initially got announced. You were a part of that,
Mm-hmm.
the full main cast, but then when it actually came to filming or showtime, basically, you became a friend of, but everybody was just like, "Where's Synetta? Where'd she go?
Yeah.
Where did she go?" And so, thank you for coming on the record and just setting the record straight, because the audience wants to know that, and it's just good to, like, clear the air and hear from you, like the actual woman who was a part of that. And yeah, Fumi, she's actually, I know she's Nigerian, I'm Nigerian American, so my dad's Nigerian, my mom's American, so I have kind of like that duality. But Fumi was such a fan favorite. Oh my God, she won the audience.
She was a natural.
Yes,
Like she is a star, like a star. Like
yes,
she really is. I love Fumi. Fumi and I can have some conversations. We gonna kiki, we gonna giggle, and then my sister's gonna drop a word. She's gonna drop a word. She's gonna drop wisdom, and she's gonna back it up with where I love Fumi. Yeah.
good. And like I said, the show overall was such a great look for the Black millennial woman because a lot of us did, well, not a lot, but let's just say those who did kind of go off and follow our dreams, right? So we didn't get married immediately, right? We got married
Mhm.
in our 30s, starting families more in the 30s, and we really were the girl boss archetype, right? And so
Yes.
the girl boss, follow your dream archetype. And there was a lot of us, and I was one of them. Okay. So I was in Atlanta doing my thing. And so to see that level of identity and like duality on screen, I really appreciated
Yes.
the age range. Everybody was a millennial for the most part.
Yes.
So Amber talking about her fertility struggles, and then Stormy is an entrepreneur, but also carrying so much. And like, girl, this is so
Yes.
happy because she girl bossed her way up to all this, notoriety and success. But being able to see how heavy it is for her, because as the girl boss archetype, that's where the soft life trend came from, right?
Yeah.
Because all of us was like, whoa, that's too much. That's
It's
too
too
much.
much.
Let's all go home. Let's all get soft. Let's all like get a man, or if you want to be married, like, okay, marriage is a very good priority to have so that you can sit down somewhere and not have to be hustling and bustling for so much for so long.
Hmm.
And so I think it's just like a natural evolution of womanhood, right? And so
Yes.
I was so happy to see, because you have and I talk about this on the show a lot. So you have the 90s woman who was career, they really were just happy to be in the office space, right? The 90s woman. Then the 2000s woman, which they were more like vixen, like sexy,
Hmm.
trying to be the it girl, right? But then the 2010s woman, which is us, hello, we were the social media women. Like we got online,
Yeah.
on Instagram, and we started getting on TikTok, on YouTube. Then we start getting notoriety for these digital spaces. But then our generation, we're like, but we still want to be married though. Like
Yeah.
we still want to have a baby if we want to have a baby. You know what I'm saying? And so things have just shifted. And so to see that on the screen, I think that really was very powerful, that image
Yes.
of all of y'all, the dynamics. And like I said, working, like you mentioned earlier, working, but I'm also married, but I'm also this and I'm that. And I got the business and I'm trying to do this and I go to work every day. And so I loved the stage. Like it was just great, great.
Yes.
And I hope that y'all get a season two. I know they probably haven't talked about that, but overall it was cool and loved seeing you on the show, honey. You was
Yes.
it's so good. All of y'all did. It was a great dynamic.
Yeah, like I said, it was a great experience overall. I feel it worked for my good. I got experience. I
Mhm.
don't take experience or environments or being in that environment for granted because I feel like it's setting me up for something else as
Yep.
well. And it was overall good. And like I said, I felt good watching it because I feel like the most response was like, "Oh, you just look so pretty on there." So yeah, that thank you. That's what
Okay, like thanks. Been working real hard for
I was
that.
probably caught a little messy again because but I can take that. What woman don't
Like it
say
was
what happened at the party or event everybody missed? So I'm cool with that. Yeah, I'm
exactly.
just keeping that collective informed.
And there you
So I'll take being messy. I'd rather be messy about a mop than about other stuff. Yeah.
go. Okay. No, we needed it. It was so cute. And so love it. I'm so happy we were able to chat about that. And because boom, you got Love and Marriage Huntsville. I'm in Huntsville. I'm from Huntsville, right? And then Stormy goes to Mississippi. I know she's from Mississippi. So
Hmm.
the original Belle collector, Mississippi. Then she kind of traveled over here to Birmingham. So now we have this whole like ecosystem of Southern Belle Black excellence. And
Yes.
that's what it's all about.
That's what
So
it's all about, that exposure. And I do love that that they came here. Like again, they're highlighting because Atlanta is always, or either Houston, or like always kind of the hubs for the South. So you're showing that Mississippi and Alabama some love. So like I said,
yeah.
when the announcement here, I'm like, who wouldn't want to be a part of it here in Birmingham, Alabama? So
Okay, well, kudos. Well, if season 2 come through and y'all need an extra person, holler at your girl.
Would you ever do reality?
Yes.
You would?
Yes. What do you mean? I have a whole script right here. Like, I have a scene. I've already casted my dream cast for Real Housewives. It would include me and others. Look, I be manifested, but that's really my origin
Let's
story.
go.
Okay, what you mean? Would I? Yes, like, or me and my husband and I, we could do our own show, but it'd probably kind of be more like Family Matters vibes, but not the staging part, but just a Black family. Look at what they do.
Yeah.
For some reason, well, I know why, because of controlling images in the media, but like, it's really nice to just see healthy Black people doing normal stuff, and our world in Atlanta was so big and beautiful, and I loved it, but Atlanta had already ran its course for us. And once we became parents, we got more grounded. And like, important. And Huntsville is one of the best cities to raise a child or family. I'm from here, and it's like really good ecosystem for opportunity. We got all these colleges here, all this network. I'm so at home here. Even on the first episode, the guy who works at the warehouse, Stormy's warehouse, I went to high school with him. I was like, no, and it's just very grounded. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would do reality TV, but I would also be strategic, like you said. You got to make sure you're doing things that make sense for you as a person, because you do have to live with that. But there's so many shows that have come and gone. So like early on in my career, with my first business, which was called Giselle Avenue, I would do entertainment PR, which you're familiar with that. I saw Married to Medicine come, like the first initial first season, right?
That's my show right there.
Right, mine too. One of mine. I saw Real Housewives. I've had clients go on Real Housewives, and so the reality TV world, I think, is here to stay. I think it's going to elevate and get better as we get more concepts, and different ideas on the table. But yeah, even on this first episode of this podcast, I had Sweet Tea, who was a cast member on Married to Medicine. So again, the millennial, we're trying to get the voice of our generation kind of out there so that we can be heard and not be drowned out by our elders and even the younger generation. Because Gen Z on some other stuff in a good way.
Yeah, and they're not playing though either.
They are strict, aren't they?
They are strict, and especially when it comes to the women. They get money. They strict program. They are not playing. So we're like in the limbo of like, both of those. Yeah.
All right, good point, because I always cackle at Gen Z, because I've had some Gen Z creators on the platform too. They ain't thinking about no man and no marriage. It's like they'll do it when they're 40, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
That's how I feel about motherhood now.
Yeah, they are like, wait, they'll do it when they get ready. And I get that, and I love that, because again, it's the evolution of the feminine. Like, we should be getting better with time.
My dad made this statement to me a few years ago, and I think it's like the best affirmation he gave me. My dad was a history teacher, but he told me, he was like, you are a part of the most powerful generation of women. And the older I get, the more I'm stepping into it, I'm just like, okay, I see what he's saying. I know you mentioned earlier, like kind of about like our elders, but those women, a lot of times were doing those things to survive.
Yep.
They had to do the marriage and the motherhood to survive. And we have a lot of freedom now. We have choices, not to say there's nothing wrong with doing either one of those things, but it's more of a choice, not a survival mechanism to have. It wasn't until I read the book, We Should All Be Millionaires. And she was talking about if women became millionaires, how the world would change. And once I thought of when my mind shift to me being a breadwinner, because before I kind of depended on my husband a lot. I was in that traditional housewife, this and that, let a man take care of me. I still want that too, but I need to be able to take care of myself. But reading that book, she was talking about that, women, again, going back to women's history, we could not get bank accounts or loans or homes and stuff till like the 1970s. That's not that far. That was not that long ago. So once that clicked, I'm like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, they had to do it. They couldn't get homes. They couldn't get bank accounts. So yeah, grandma stayed with him for years because she couldn't move out.
Yep.
She didn't have the freedom that we have. And so I do not take that for granted.
I agree. I'm right with you. And and we do get better with time. And
Mm-hmm.
speaking of women's history, I know a creator from Twitter. I saw her on TikTok recently, and she was just in my feed again for my page because I'm also in the process of reprogramming my mind with materialism because I'm so spiritual that sometimes I don't really get into the materialism as much. But that's
Mm-hmm.
changing now, okay? Because motherhood pushes you into material world. Okay, the baby you got to go change the diaper. Okay, baby hungry. The baby needs some food. The baby talking. The baby walking. So it get real through
Mm-hmm.
like boom. You on planet Earth? Here go the baby. It's very grounding. But anyway, this creator, I remember, and this is women's history. Shout out to her. Her name is Paris Moon, but she owns a company called Moon Cosmetics. I remember in 2018 where she was on Twitter and she had made $1 million in 8 minutes.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I knew that brand sounded familiar.
You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? In 8 minutes, like she has sold out and made $1 million in 8 minutes. And I was just like, mentally, I
Yeah.
had to register that. And because I remember when it happened back then, but it's 2026. That was almost 10 years ago. You see what I'm saying? And I saw her on TikTok and she was just doing a little shopping haul. She was like, oh, I spent $100,000 shopping. And she was like, but that's easy. That's not a lot of money to me because that's kind of my usual. And I was just so struck by the power of her inner goddess,
Mm-hmm.
inner creator. She's
Creator.
a and she just was talking like, and she's not even on the like stunt and stuff. She was just talking to us like, look, this is what I bought about this, about that. And it helped me realize like, y'all, we have to remember that women are out here doing very phenomenal things. And a lot of times it's in the shadows. It's not seen because of the patriarchy. They don't want women to
Mm-hmm.
know how much power we have if we go within ourselves and just try to manifest and create from within. Because again,
Mm-hmm.
that's something she created. This is not a 9 to 5. It's something she had a passion for. And almost 10 years ago, she made $1 million in 8 minutes, and it wasn't a big deal. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so just that alone, just like reprogramming your mind and always
That's
just
it.
bigger. But
Removing those limiting beliefs.
yes, as women, because no, you got a lot of power. And if we continue to just come together and be a collective as in lieu of the show and just come together and be like, yo, you got it, I got it, we can all get it, let's have it together.
Have that
That's
village, that community, and that's what that is, right? Us leaning on each other and sharing resources for the community to
yes.
elevate and rise. So,
I
yeah.
love it. And then this is kind of a good segue to your brand, Become Her Lifestyle. Talk to us about what that is and what made you kind of come up with that brand.
Oh, my brand started in 2022. And it really came out of my purpose. And even going back to what I shared at the beginning, me having like my wholeness journey, doing the self love, doing the shadow work, and then now being here in the goddess energy that I have and embody, and just that birthright, right? That I feel that I have. But going how it started was spirit will give me a word each year, and during that time, once the therapist called out the wholeness right factor, I started to work on like becoming. That was my word for 1 year. So just me doing the work, also noticing my sisters around me and my friends, that me doing the work and me seeing that they need to do the work, that kind of birth that brand. I'm honestly, I'm still in the beginning stages of it. It's funny that you mentioned that 9 to 5 piece because I am currently in like that corporate space. I feel that I didn't take my corporate career serious in my 20s. So I feel like right now I'm just kind of doing it as more of like a goal that I want to set to like kind of climb my corporate ladder. But I just got a promotion and I told my husband maybe like 2 weeks ago, I was like, I got that goal, but I don't feel fulfilled. So now I'm feeling like now I need to change my mindset to more of who you were talking about. Like I can create more money in a day that I'm giving to this job. That does not mean that I need to quit my job right now, but I need to start doing the things to scale to move forward and really launch my brand.
Yeah,
So ideally, the vision for it is to create a space for women to work on their wholeness, their divinity, and becoming the women that they feel that God has called them to be. So I want to create journals. I even want to do apparel. I feel like that's more of my e-commerce space. I see the brand becoming. And currently I just created a separate brand. Again, I have to lunch everything where it's called Her Be Him Social. And it's more of me focusing on community here in Birmingham.
Okay.
So the Become Her lifestyle is more of giving women tools and resources to become themselves. And then
Mhm.
the community space is more for the women here in Birmingham. Because
Gotcha.
here I do parties. I've been doing parties for years. And I know I can throw a party. I know I can get the girls together to smoke hookah, drink, twerk, right? But there's more to us than that, right? To really become her. So next, I see myself, especially in 2027, creating more wellness and mental spaces and financial literacy spaces for women here in Birmingham for us to get together. Still have that social place for us to feel free and dance and party, but to really tap into those whole pillars of mind, body, spirit, soul, finances. So yeah, I'm still in the birthing stages of it.
Mhm.
And I am though currently I'm starting to have that revelation like, okay, Synetta, you can continue to you could become the CEO of this company, but that creativity, that goddess energy in you, that feminine, that creativity, you got to get that out because you're going to feel stagnant.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's so funny. I had that question here. I was going to ask about how you balance the masculine energy of corporate structure with the divine feminine energy of creativity. I think you just answered it naturally. And I couldn't agree with you more. And it's definitely, especially again, let's go back to the times because I made this podcast to document the time. So the times that we're in, we are all being called to tap more into our divine feminine essence, the feminine essence of who you are, because your being is your bank account. Like that, like
Mhm.
money is gonna start fading out, and it's gonna become more just your aura, your presence, the energy you are radiating will be the currency because energy is the currency. I talked about that on
Yeah.
TikTok. And so if like that's why I love the Paris Moon girl because I mean not girl, but you know, the creator Paris Moon because she was just in herself chilling. Like it wasn't out. She wasn't like, look. She was like, look. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like it was so internal. And that's what happened when you spend time with yourself. All of the things come out. We are the wealth that we seek. We are the legacy that we speak of, but it does require inner work and inner healing and inner self, like knowing your inner self. And so
Hmm.
that balance, I appreciate you sharing that. And it sounds like you got some really cool stuff up your sleeve. So continue to bring
Yes.
that out. And I'm sure everyone will continue to support because you do know how to bring the girls out. It's very impressive.
Yeah. Thank you.
Like being social is not easy to everybody. And so the way that you're able to just kind of whip them out, like, let's hang out, girls. And like they actually have fun, they're smiling. That's
Hmm.
a skill. That's a very feminine skill. So
Thank you. And I think the first party I threw on my own because in the past I was always like collaborating with other women. But the first one I threw on my own and the girls had a ball and somebody wrote me, they were like, you're the perfect person in the city. Like you can get so many women together and we just have fun. It was no drama. Like even at my Galentine's, right? Like to really experience it, of course it was the backdrop for that, but that's not what I create those spaces for. You know,
yeah.
it was for us to look good, feel sexy, and love on ourselves. That was what that atmosphere was supposed to be about, so
Well, it looked great. And like I think
thank you.
there are several very large scale Galentine's events, I think this year or whatever year that was. So to see that play out, and I know you did one, but some of the housewives of Atlanta had hosted some
Hmm.
stuff. And it was just on brand, on cue, because again, the feminine needs to be uplifted and appreciated. And we're in the times where if you're doing that, you're going to get a reward. Like you're going to get
Hmm.
instantly rewarded for being in alignment with the feminine. And but on the flip side, if you're just disrespecting or degrading the feminine, you're going to also have to pay for that too.
Yeah.
So let's so oh my God, Synetta, I feel like we could talk for the rest of the night and I don't want to hold you or me. So I'm going to close here with one last question and then I want you to share also how people can connect with you.
Okay.
If you could speak directly to the woman listening who feels completely disconnected from her inner power, who might be trying to get through the stages of ascension to where she gets to goddess level, but maybe she don't even know where to start. What is one shift that you think she can make today to kind of start creating that dream and making it her reality? So if you saw her here, she's like, she's watching, she's like, I hear you, Synetta, but like, I don't know where to start, like what to do. What would you tell her to do first?
I would say that it all starts within. Another scripture that helped me during my Bible study that I feel a lot of people don't focus on is that the kingdom of God is within you.
Mm.
So I think it all starts within. And when it comes to women, I feel a lot of women, we don't know ourselves because, again, society has told us who we should be. And our conversation today, and had like when you spoke of like the 90s and the 2000s, we have gone through all these different stages. And we, again, going back to, we are a generation where we have choices, right? So other generations, they didn't have these options besides being a mother or a wife. But now we have options. So again, the kingdom of God is within you. And it starts with you looking within and really getting to know yourself, and also learning your identity too. Your identity is not what other people put on you, it's how you see yourself and what you think about yourself. So focusing on that light, that kingdom within you, and then learning yourself. You know how many women I talk to, like, I don't even know what I like. You ask, they don't know what they like because we're serving so many other people.
Mm-hmm.
So focusing on that kingdom within you, getting to know yourself, and then you setting the foundation of what your identity is. And you stand firm in that, and you don't let anybody shape it because you know who you are. I feel like once you can do those things and you sit with yourself and do the work, and that's going back to when, like, ideally when I create my journal, that's what I want, is that journal to give women the intentional time when they're sitting with it. To if it's 10 minutes, you're going to write in that journal, or 5, give you that space to where you're wearing all these different hats, as I mentioned at the beginning. You're serving all of these people, to allow you to sit and really get to know yourself.
Yeah.
I get, when you know yourself, you know your identity, and you know that you are source, I think everything will shift, and to give yourself grace because it's a process.
Yeah. Thank you, Synetta. And how can people reach you if they want to connect, they want to talk further, they want to like support your business, or just want to get to know you better? How can they reach out?
My Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I just started my YouTube. I got to post my videos. I've done 2 vlogs. I got to just edit them. But they're simply Synetta, and my Facebook is Synetta Smith.
Yeah. Well, Synetta, this has been such a great conversation. I'm so glad we reconnected, and
Yes.
I look forward to continue to see you shine and radiate
Thank
your goddess
you.
energy. And it was so nice to hear more about the show and also becoming her, and your new mindset shift on wifehood and what that means to you today. So yeah, this is beautiful. I love it. So with that being said, this is episode 23, a conversation with Synetta Smith, and you're watching the Goddess Giselle podcast. Be sure to watch, like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
See ya.